Welcome, students. Mr. Bockel here, and I want to go over a little bit of our past reading because it was incredibly confusing in order to set you up for success today. So, the last chapter we read, wrong slide. This is the slide I'm supposed to be on. How to tell a true war story. In this one, you got three stories. You had the one where Kurt Lemon stepped on the grenade, you had the one where Mitch Sanders told the story of the six guys going on LP to Tim O'Brien in a foxhole late one night. And then you got that story you'll never forget, the story of the baby water buffalo. Now, at the beginning of this book or this chapter, we had a really interesting quote that'll help us really understand what we're getting at. In How to Tell a True War Story, after Kurt Lemon stepped on a grenade, Tim O'Brien says this. He says, there's always that surreal seemingness. We've got to pay attention to that surreal. He tapped into this idea of surrealism, which makes the story seem untrue, but which in fact represents the hard and exact truth as it seemed. So now we have this distinction here where O'Brien is trying to tell, he doesn't really care about what actually happened. He cares more what seemed to happen. Surrealism. So you're familiar with surrealism. You've seen artwork, surrealistic artwork before. We've all seen the melting clocks here. The purpose of surrealism is not to represent exact truth, reality. It's meant to help us understand the subconscious and depict the subconscious. So here's a definition of surrealism. It's a 20th century movement in art and literature which sought to depict the unconscious mind. So we're trying to depict things that we can't really see. We can't take a photograph of. We can't really document. The best thing we can do is try to represent it as best we could. For example, by the irrational juxtaposition of images. So let's go now to another, help you understand a little bit more. Artists painted unnerving, illogical scenes, creating strange creations from everyday objects, and they developed painting techniques that allowed the unconsciousness to express itself. So I'm going to show you a few paintings. Unfortunately, my face is going to be in the way a little bit. We've got this mechanical elephant here. This is not the artist is not trying to depict objective reality. No, the artist is trying to depict the subconscious. And we're trying to, the artist is trying to invoke a feeling, a mood. And the best we can look at, be like, oh, I think I get it. I think I understand. So we've got some other ones. These next two are surrealistic war paintings. Once again, this is not a real depiction of war. This is a depiction of what a soldier might feel subconsciously. The goal is not to portray reality. The goal is to portray what it felt like for a soldier. So we have this one too. So now let's go back to Mitch Sanders' stories. Mitch Sanders' story, where he was talking about all the things they heard in the jungle, he wasn't trying to depict what actually happened. He was trying to depict what it felt like as a soldier. So now let's go to that awful story about right here. Mitch Sanders wanted me to feel the truth, and that's important, to believe by the raw force of feeling. So one thing that makes a story true for Tim O'Brien is the feeling that we get when we read the story. So remember at the end where Mitch Sanders the next morning is like, "Hey Tim, I gotta admit a few things. I made a few things up." He's like, "I know, I get it. I'm a storyteller too. I had to make up the quartet, the glee club, the orchestra, the concert. None of that actually happened. We know that doesn't seem possible, but what Sanders was trying to get at, he was trying to help us as an audience what it felt like to go crazy and to hear things in the middle of Vietnam. So let's now go to this story. If a true war story, if truly told, makes the stomach believe. So we've got to pay attention to how we feel when we're listening to war stories, or at least to true war stories, according to O'Brien. So this next one, you felt. It was about the water buffalo, but it wasn't just any water buffalo. It was the baby water buffalo. We had to pay attention to how we felt. So the purpose of this story, well, there wasn't really a purpose to it. All we can really do is, according to O'Brien, just go, oh. And we learned that at the very end, this whole story about the baby water buffalo, it was made up. Remember, the whole baby water buffalo, it wasn't objective reality. Tim O'Brien was painting a picture like this in order to get us to feel an emotion. And at the very end, he says, all you can do is tell the story one more time, patiently, adding and subtracting, making up a few details to get to the real truth, this truth that we believe. No Mitch Sanders, you tell her, no Lemon, no Brad Kiley, no Trail Junction, no Baby Water Buffalo, no vines or moss or white blossoms. Beginning to end, you tell her it's all made up, every detail, the mountains and the river, and especially that poor, dumb Baby Water Buffalo. He was trying to help us understand what it was like to lose a friend during the war. Remember, this wasn't a war story. It was a love story. Tim O'Brien was doing his very best to help us who have never experienced war to understand what it felt like to lose one of our best friends. And if he had to kill a baby water buffalo to do that, well, then he was going to do that. So now we get to today's reading. You've got 4 stories today. You've got Spin, The Man I Killed, Ambush, and the craziest one and the shortest one, Good Form. Good Form, O'Brien is going to throw a thought grenade at you, and it's going to like blow up your mind. There's Mr. Davis. Everyone say bye, Mr. Davis. No, you're good. So today's reading, you're going to answer the question, according to O'Brien, what is the purpose of stories? This is Mr. Bockold. Keep reading, keep learning.